Hey everybody, it's Keith with Bob CNC. Welcome to Shop Talk. And as
I'm
always,
with my best friend Keith. I just couldn't wait to say it. I'm so excited.
just a second, I'm going to get a tear here.
Okay.
Just give me a,
You need a hug?
no, maybe some sawdust will do it.
A little hug?
Get away from
Okay,
me.
all right.
We're going to get artsy fartsy here today.
Oh. Is that-
Chris's
is that-
favorite word,
is that an
artsy
official word?
fartsy. Yeah.
Okay.
No, actually, what we're talking about are all the different aspects that you need to have a certain amount of mastery over to be successful.
So we're going to talk
using
about the
your
things that you
CNC.
screwed up and learned from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was talking to a guy one time, and I said, you know, everything that I have ever learned about God's grace is because of all the stupid things I've done.
I think
And he said, you know a lot.
Yeah. I think I can relate to that.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much true of anything in life.
Yeah.
I mean, we generally learn from, yeah. And in fact, that's why you go to school. So you don't have to make all those mistakes, but what people don't understand in the whole process of education is people don't learn that way.
Oh.
They generally have to run into a wall themselves,
Yeah.
and then they figure out that,
That would be a good,
but
good example of that.
right. I don't want to offend any teachers here.
No.
Okay, but anyway. So, I'm thinking that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 things that we could cover really quick,
Okay.
all right?
About
Unless
CNC,
you get, yeah.
About CNC wood projects.
About CNC, well, any project,
Okay.
okay? Because we can do acrylics, you know, like pieces of Corian, things
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
You know, we have guys that are doing stuff out of, it's clear, you can see through it. Poly, it's plastic, it's,
It's acrylic.
yeah, no.
Polyurethane?
No,
Polycarbonate?
no, that could be. Probably wants a cracker, I don't know. I
Okay.
wouldn't listen to a guy that can't think like me.
Yeah.
But in any case, the first thing we need to talk about, or you need to be aware of, is the material properties of the stuff you're working with.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, for example, you're going to do a V-carve.
Yeah.
You want to make a nice sign, and you're using, I don't know, number 2 pine.
Yeah.
When maybe you should try to use a better quality pine, but you know, you're trying to save some money. And perhaps you've glued some 2x stock together, like me, because I've been cheap.
Yeah.
And I was going to try to do a good sized flag. It was about 36 by 24, something like that.
Okay.
So anyway, I made sure that all my stock was nice and square when I cut it. I don't have a joiner,
Right.
but I have a good table saw.
Okay.
And anyway, I glued everything up. I clamped it up. Boom. When I was done, I had a relatively square, flat piece of material. Okay. So and it's an 1.5 inches thick because I wanted to have a nice, deep, waving surface on
Okay,
this thing.
cool.
Okay, so I've got this flag glued up. I've got it on my machine. I've got it mounted, and I've got all the carving done. And when it was on the machine, I thought it looked spectacular. I
Right.
was really amazed that it worked. I thought, wow, I did something right. And so anyway, I took off the clamps, and then Kathy and I went somewhere, and I'm going to come back and do some sanding and whatever. And I noticed that this thing is starting to bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I had really removed a lot of material.
Right.
And what I had totally not thought about is in removing that material, I was removing wood that was actually helping the wood stay flat.
Right.
And I'd released all this stress
Yep.
in this thing.
It happens.
Yeah, so it changed the way I glued stock up, it
Okay.
changed the way I cut things. Like for example, if you're going to do pocket cuts and you're using 3/4 inch material, you generally don't want to go much deeper than 1/8 of an inch in that pocket cut. Because now you've removed what percentage of that 3/4 inch?
Yeah.
Math guys, come on. Don't
And
feel
that-
the pressure.
well,
Yeah, 1/8 from 3/4, come on, Bob. that'd be
If you needed to go deeper than that, though, you
could.
might need to understand that you
Yes.
have some issues with that.
Yeah,
So
that's it. So anyway, that's it. There's just material properties that you have to be aware
Yeah,
of.
some guys even have the little moisture meter they check their wood with.
Oh,
before they cut
absolutely.
those
I'm
type of
serious,
things,
guys
yeah.
do.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah, you're not very serious.
I'm not.
Yeah,
Okay, and then you've got, you've got to have the right cutting tools.
oh yeah, it definitely makes a
Heard a
difference.
really good story the other day,
Yeah,
and I'm not making fun of anybody because I'm sure I could do this too. In fact, we could kind of address this.
yeah,
Because you told me today you saw a survey
yeah.
about guys that leave their machines unattended.
Yeah, I was really surprised that it was a big percentage. And guys, if you own a Bob CNC machine, do not leave it unattended. I mean, it's dangerous. We actually thought about making a video where we took a router bit and took one of those little things where we spin it back and forth.
It's called a bow.
Thank you, a bow,
Bow.
right? You know, like the old guys used to do when they didn't have
Like-
lighters and stuff. And it would be hard to start a
The
fire.
old guys.
Yeah. Well, they are.
That's what I
Most
do.
of them are
I
dead
go
now.
out, I'd start all my fires that
All
way.
right, Tom.
Jeez,
Anyway, we're not marketing it, right?
Yeah, okay.
What would be the technical term for that?
I don't know.
Back in the days before we had lighters, when there were younger people that started fires
Yes, with sticks.
and a string,
Yeah.
and you would wrap that string
Right.
around and it would,
Well,
spin
yeah,
that
yeah,
stick
yeah,
really
and
fast.
friction, right.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And then-
anyway, the story I heard,
yeah.
to go along with
Let me
this,
finish my story.
well,
Okay, we ain't got that much
a
time.
guy was, no, there was a guy, he was cutting some holes with the CNC,
Yeah.
which is a absolutely perfect,
Oh, yeah.
wonderful operation for a machine.
Making
Except,
cribbage boards, yeah.
well, it could have been,
Yeah.
might have been, but he was using a down cut bit.
Shoving all them chips down in that hole.
And that's what down cut means, because as it's spinning, the material it's removing is actually being forced to the bottom of the hole.
But it's also cutting down so it leaves really clean edges.
Yes,
Which
it
is
does.
the advantage.
Right. But the disadvantage is if you don't watch your machine,
Yeah.
it does that little friction thing with the stick and the bow, and it started his machine on fire.
It can do that.
Yeah.
And that's, you
So-
never, ever leave your machine unattended.
No, don't.
Just for that reason.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so a down cut bit is a fantastic bit for cutting clean surfaces on the top.
Right. If you don't want to do a lot of
Yeah.
sanding.
Yeah, and then an upcut bit is great for materials like your acrylics or the homogeneous materials because you don't have the fuzz on the top, from pulling the cut up, right? And them chips just fly out of the holes. However, if you use wood, especially open grain wood, right, as it's cutting up, it just leaves a couple of those fibers and you get that fuzz along there that you have to
Right.
sand. So, but it does clear out them chips. Those chips
Okay,
come up.
well, you've also then have a compression bit.
Which is really the best of both worlds, right? So it has the down cut on the top and then the little part of the bottom has the up cut. So you need to get that up cut deep enough on your first pass, right? But then if you're going through like plywood or any other kind of wood, really, you have a clean edge on both sides. So if you're cutting out shape. So if you've got a compression bit, you're saying that you really want to cut out the piece. If you're doing 3D, you're not using a compression bit, right? If you're doing 3D relief carving.
And
Okay?
you need to be thinking about, do I want a really finely finished surface? Because maybe instead of using, you might use an end mill, a 1/4 inch end mill to do your rough cut, but you need to be thinking about investing in some ball nose end mills
Right.
so that you can do your finish cuts.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay? And
The bit matters is the bottom
Yeah,
line,
yeah,
right?
the
I
bit
mean,
does-
it depends on what project you're doing. I mean, you may need a V bit that's sharp angled, wide angled. You may need and what kind of bit. Do the research on that so you
Right.
don't end up with a whole bunch of bits that you won't
yeah, and
need.
don't be afraid to talk to the guys or send them a note on Facebook.
Oh yeah, on
Because
Facebook,
our
yeah.
community will jump all over it and help you out and give you
Yeah,
all
I
kinds of good advice.
Greg even wrote a paper on.
Oh,
what
yes,
kind
he
of bit,
did.
so
Another
that's out there.
engineer.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
We like to write stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's not me. I like the pictures. But, yeah.
Then, once you have determined the material you're working with, the kind of bits that you're going to use, of course you've got your tool path or your design meeting, your tool path and all that. The next thing is finishing, and this is where I really suck.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not very good at it either. I wish there was we have some customers that when I look at their stuff, I'm like, wow,
How do you see the
that
colors?
so clean? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All my-
Black and gray stuff, right? You know,
Yeah.
two colors, black, gray.
Mine doesn't
you know?
even have two.
Yeah.
I just sand it and stain it or finish it.
Well, there's some things that I would understand. Like you wouldn't take a very really detailed 3D carving and paint it with latex paint because you would cover up all the details, right? Because the paint's thick. So there's my contribution. But as far as getting all of the details, you know, I'd like to hear from some of our customers
So would I.
that do those beautiful like multicolored things. And it's like, well, maybe they just spend 20 hours doing it, but it is there's just so much detail in it. So epoxy makes sense, right? Because if you cut out the hole and you fill it with epoxy and then sand,
Right.
you know.
There are all kinds of videos on YouTube
Yeah.
about finishing or pre-finishing wood before staining. I wanted to do use some acrylic to highlight some type
Okay.
that I had carved.
Yeah.
And I did a couple of renditions of this very same product, and I got bleeding that I just couldn't even control. So I went back. I've tried 3 different products.
The masking stuff.
I've done that. I still
Okay.
got the bleeding.
Yeah.
I've used polyurethane, still got the bleeding. What I ended up using was just shellac.
Yeah, it's better sealer, you think?
3 coats of shellac. Yeah, and it's the solids that do the sealing. They're, well, like I can see, but they're smaller, and so they're able to fill up all those pores and fissures and whatever in the wood. And I found that with 3 coats of that in a light sand, and then I could epoxy, not epoxy. I could either use an acrylic pen or I could use actually a brush and paint and just do a thick coating over the type and then wipe it clean.
Right.
And I could come back and do a finished sand.
Yeah.
And then all my print was crisp.
Yeah,
And I
I-
didn't have that bleeding.
Yeah, I mean, from the first one to the ones that you've done recently, there's,
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
it's,
much better.
yeah, huge difference. Now, you like the acrylic pens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have never tried those.
Well, I gave you a set. You
Well,
never used them.
No.
You know I had to buy another set of acrylic pens?
Okay,
Because
well,
I gave them to Bob.
okay, I could give you a
No, I've already got a set now.
right.
Use them.
All right, well, I might one day.
No, I've got,
Maybe
like,
I'll-
I want to make this project for Kathy and it
Uh-huh.
requires some painting.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it to my granddaughter who
Oh, there
loves
you go.
painting.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because I can't.
Sub that stuff out. I think the bottom line is what
And
we're
she's
trying to
cheap.
say is we're still learning on the finish.
Oh,
Most of him, I just try to stay out of it. You know, I just, you know, I'm not.
I wish you would sometime.
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
say that.
Ow,
That's
that's
stuck
the
out.
second time.
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
Something
You
about
should
out of the fullness of the heart.
Yeah. You should keep that stuff to yourself.
Okay,
Anyway,
you're
If-
still my best friend.
if you have, and you're still my best friend.
Okay,
Oh.
this is getting warmer. man.
If you have, like, if you're really good at this,
Yeah,
then, and you have suggestions, or if you want to write a paper,
or if you have a YouTube video,
yeah, that would be great.
I tell you what, yeah.
I
Oh,
could,
Kristen jumped about had a heart attack
I
there.
could, I could let him try it out and see if it actually works.
Anyway, guys, if you have any questions, you might want to talk to somebody else. But till next time, we'll see ya.
All right, bye guys.